Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to the top 20 player voted classes for 2022. We last did this back in 2020, I believe, so this is a much updated list and greatly expanded. So we got lots of new entry, and now I will quickly explain how we got these results. So I put a poll out to you guys, basically asking you which class do you think is your favourite / the best. So it's a bit of a mix up this, so you have all sorts of classes in this list. So if you're after variety, this is not too shabby. Anyway, let us begin with what is at number 20, and we start the day with Necromancer. This is a new entry into the list of a very old favourite class. You know, I got this back in the day many moons ago, and obviously you have your little skeleton that battles alongside you. It's not the greatest and most powerful class in the world anymore, but it's still one that clearly people quite like. Number 19, Chrono Assassin. As far as I'm aware, this is a member-only map where you actually get this nowadays, even though it's an AC tag class. So if you do want to get your hands on this one, it could be slightly challenging if you are a totally free player. Then we have number 18, Hobo Highlord, a classic April Fool's class that went rare, so sadly if you want this, you can't get it anymore unless you really want to IODA it, which wouldn't be a disaster because this is a truly legendary class, and to be quite honest, probably deserves to be a little bit higher up the list. Then we move on to number 17. This one is down from the last video, Shadowscythe General. It is a 6 target farming class that you can get by going along and speaking to Revenant, doing some dailies, and you know what, it is still a fairly decent farmer, but with latest additions that have been added into the game, it's just naturally found its way falling down the rankings. Again, a new entry, number 16, Great Thief. Yes, this class has been around a while, but for some reason, you guys didn't really vote it in at all last time, but that's probably because that was a top 10 last time round. But if you want it, go get some hero points, so you do have to pay to get this class, but it is a great PvPer and one of the best ones for that in game. Next up, Abyssal Angel. Yes, I know that is the picture and class of Abyssal Angel Shadow, but they both have the exact same skills. This one's coming in at number 15, and again, it is one of the few nation classes we actually have in game. It's not too amazing, it's not all that powerful, but you know what, it is a half decent class if you did want to get it when it comes around, as it is seasonal. Next up, Legion DoomKnight at number 14. This one is down again, but still proves its worth, as we recently found out in the Dage challenge fight. It's always been a good soloing class, and again, if you want to get your hands on this one, it is one of those seasonal ones that comes around when the Dage birthday events join in, so you will need some Legion tokens, and then you can go along and grab that. Number 13 is Blazebinder. Again, a new entry for this year, but a class that has been around for a very long time. Nowadays, it finds itself in that lower A tier bracket, and after some recent changes, it is still by far one of the best farmers in game, so if you don't have it, it's worth getting, as the grind for it is considerably easier than some of your alternatives. Next up, one of the big pay to win classes, Master of Moglins, coming in at number 12. This is a $100 or so class, and with that price tag means again it is a top 3 farming class. So you're probably thinking it's a bit weird coming in a bit lower down in this list, but it's clearly just not overly popular and not too many people really want to go along and spend $100 on it. Number 11 is Archfiend. This one finds itself in a fairly low spot considering how powerful it is as a farming class and how accessible it is nowadays as well. With those recent changes, it finds itself as one of the most powerful farming classes currently in the game. Next up, number 10 is Dragon of Time. This one has slipped its way in at number 10. You can go along, speak to Chrono and Time in if you're interested. It has a very odd nuking mechanic. With the higher your health goes, the more damage you can deal, so when you're fighting Zang, it is incredibly useful, and other than that, it is just a pretty solid farming class, so definitely worth getting if you haven't already. It is a bit of a grind though, so bear that one in mind. Next up, let's move on to Lord of Order. This one is down a few spots, not through any fault of its own though. This is one of the best support classes in game and finds itself as an essential team player in challenge fights, which is the way the game's going nowadays, so it is an incredibly relevant class, whereas in the past it might not have been used so much, but it definitely is out of the bank and a firm stayer in the inventory. Number 8, ShadowStalker of Time, although in this instance we're using Weaver with the legendary Joe King and his mighty stick. One of the most old school chrono classes, or at least fairly old school. You know, it's been around a few years under various different names. If you'd like to get it, head along to the Hero Mart map and spend some of your hero points. Number 7, down a few spots, is LightCaster. You will need to spend a few ACs in order to obtain this one, but it is more than worth it. As a support, and again, one of the best soloing class in game, it will certainly do you very well. If you're one of those people umming and ahhing over whether you should spend the 1000 or so ACs, it is fully worth it. Moving on to number 6, down a spot or two, is StoneCrusher, an exceptional S-tier support class. Alongside that, you can also solo pretty much anything you feel like, 'cause it has a really strong heal and very good damage output, and alongside that, you can even, if you really feel daring, use it in PvP. I have been known to do that a few times, and it's actually quite a good, enjoyable class to go along use if you want quite a big challenge. Number 5 is Chaos Avenger. This was always going to be one of the top classes, and it is your alternative to Void Highlord. It is still an endgame class, as you will need to complete the 13 Order to Chaos and go along and defeat Champion Drakov a few times, but once you've done that, you have got an incredibly solid soloing tanking class that of course does have a taunt attached to it. Next up is Yami No Ronin at number 4. This class is one of those that if you're doing it the free way, it takes a little while to get, but if you do it the paid way, you will get there considerably quicker, and it is worth it. An incredible dodge class and PvPer, not too shabby at soloing either if you do want to use it in that, but it is one of the more slightly complicated classes to nail with the combo. Number 3 is ArchPaladin, again a farming support class, and you know what, you can even do a bit of soloing. It does have a nuke attached to this one, which gives you that extra edge again when you're doing those soloing battles. This class has moved up a spot or two, and that is primarily because of how essential and relied upon it is in the challenge fights we get. And now the controversy begins. Number 2, down a spot, is Legion Revenant. This is the class only a few weeks ago I was describing as the ultimate one that you'll never really ever need to unequip. It farms, it solos, it PvPs, and heck, it even supports. To me, it is the best all-round class you can get your hands on, and the farm for it has been made incredibly easier ever since Dage came along. But having said all that, according to our community polls, it is not going to be the number 1 class this year round. This time it is Void Highlord, which coincidentally is up a spot because it's swapping with Legion Revenant from last time. They actually tied in the main poll, and I had to go along to a tiebreaker, which is how the final stats padded out. I love Void Highlord, it's a great class, and you can't really go wrong. It's just one hell of a grind, especially if you don't have any Nilgath pets. So here are the final results, just for anyone that was skipping through the video and missed bits in the middle. Thank you all very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. Please do leave the video a like, and of course subscribe, and I'll be back very soon for another top list, which will be on the agenda. Until then, have a lovely day.